Hey, everybody, it's Alex here from the Western China International Communication Organization. I'm here with Lily. She is from Norway, and we're here during this holiday season. And I thought it'd be a good time to upload some great content, especially about this new YouTuber that is making some waves here in China. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Alex. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's just jump right in here because I'm just as curious about these questions as our audience will be as well. What inspired you to move from Norway, or I guess you're a world traveler, to China at such a young age? And when did you first start thinking about this?
I started thinking about it when I made some Chinese friends abroad, and I saw their way of thinking, not only life, but doing business and how inclusive they were with everyone. So I was like, there's something to it. And it made me want to visit China. And then I came to visit China and I was like, I really want to live here. I really hope I get to make this happen.
Well, that's impressive. Okay. Now, was that just like a spontaneous thing, or was it a thought out strategy, or?
Yeah, I thought about it for a few years, and then it kept on coming back to me that I need to learn Mandarin. And I tried to do it abroad, but it's not as easy. So that's when I decided to take the leap and move to China.
So fully immersing yourself with Mandarin language, why not just get on an airplane and come to China? That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Well, my next question is, how did your family and friends react when you told them about your decision to move to China?
They were happy for me because I've been staying in some places that weren't that safe before, some other countries in Asia, and they all know that China is very safe. So they were happy. And my dad has been doing business in China for 30 years. So he's always been talking very highly of China to me. And yeah, I guess I've had that from a very young age. So yeah, they're happy.
Now, it's interesting because when most of us foreigners come to China or about to come to China, there's usually a narrative from our countries or from various people that have actually never been here, where they say, wow, you need to be careful, or I heard this about China, or I'm not sure if your social credit points are good enough, or some crazy thing like that, some stereotype. Was there any of that before you came to China?
I didn't have that because my dad has been traveling to China for so long, and he's been telling me, that the real things about China. So no, I didn't have that, but I do see it. I do get it a lot online these days, but I didn't have it from friends and family.
Now, I introduced you at the start of the program from Norway. I mean, that's quite a ways away from home. Um, is there a little bit of culture shock where you are right now compared to Norway?
In Qingdao, definitely more than Shanghai.
Okay.
But even when I came to Shanghai, there was a bit of a culture shock, especially because I didn't speak any Mandarin when I got here. So even just the simple stuff like ordering food, the delivery apps, and that was all in Chinese. And yeah, I remember at one point I felt really frustrated and I was crying and I was like,
Yeah.
I got that shock. But then, yeah, I think a lot of people go through it in the beginning, but then after a while, you adapt.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is that technology is advancing. China is at the forefront of technology, allowing us. I mean, I've seen the translations applications really accelerate in the last couple of years here, where it does make life easier. Before, I used to look at my phone and it was all Chinese characters. Now it automatically translates any language on my applications. That means that during the day I can easily order food, coffee, taxis, airline tickets, train tickets. My, oh my, what we used to do before that. Let's move on to our next question here. What has been the biggest cultural difference you've noticed so far between life in Norway or maybe other countries that you've been to, and how have you learned to handle them?
Um, Yeah, there's been quite a few. One of them being the what do you call it in English? The social personal space
Right.
in
Okay.
in
Tell us
public
about this.
spaces. Especially coming from Norway, that one is quite big because it's such a big country with very few people.
Can you
So
explain that?
yeah, so coming to China, for example, I'm at a vegetable market in the morning, a local one, and they might, push me, or the older ladies might want to get through and be a bit roughly that way. And in the beginning, I was very like, oh, why are they
Mhm.
doing that? Are they like not liking me, being rude? But no, it's just they're more, yeah, used to it because there's a lot of people here, so it makes sense. And yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I just,
being Canadian, I can relate to that. You know, we have a huge country, not many people there, so we're used to that space. I know. I think I know where you're going with that. And then somebody kind of gets in your lane,
mm,
or we'll call it gets it near your face, and you're like,
mm,
"Wait a minute, what's the rush here? What's going on? Why are things so? Why are people a little bit more pushy?" I would say, and yeah, that's the polite Canadian way I'll say about it. But yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I think coping with it would be to understand more about their history and how many people there actually are, because yeah, getting more information about China and about the people here, and then you kind of understand, and then a lot of that maybe like judgment just fades away because you understand it. You get where they're coming from.
Now, with every move, there's challenges, and um, I'm curious. You know, what challenges have you faced since moving, and how have you learned to handle them? I know sometimes moving here alone or solo, it can feel pretty daunting and feel like helpless at times. What challenges have you come by, and how are you handling them? How are you facing them?
Alex, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Would that be different from my answer with the social?
Okay. Let's look at it this way. A different one instead of the social one. Um, let's say you want to either do business or you want to work maybe here in China, or you want to accelerate a certain dream that you have. What
Hmm,
do you think are the challenges to get to that where you want to be? What would
okay,
the challenges be where you, yeah, something like that?
got it. Um, Understanding more of the culture and how important relationships there are, being introduced to someone and keeping a face and understanding more of that part about China that you might not know just from seeing China on social media, from traveling here, but spending time here and spending time with the locals. Um, Very subtle things, but very important things as well. And yeah, that's been a challenge to learn. Um, Guangxi is really, really big here.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
right? And
Hmm.
yeah, that's something like how do you explain that without being in those situations? I think being in the situations will really, really help and having local friends and being spending time here.
Is your life really different from, let's say, uh, 2 years ago? Like, is there a very different routine in your life? Or are you a person just continually chasing dreams, or what is the ambition for China? What's the end goal here? I know I didn't put that down as a question, but
It's
I'd like to
okay.
add that in if possible.
Yeah. Right now, my current goal is to learn Mandarin fluently.
Okay.
And I know that will open a lot of doors. I don't have the stepping stone for what's next. I just know that I'm meant to be here, and I feel that very deep within me. And I always trust that. I always trust that inner guidance.
Right. I
Mm,
think our audience would be curious. As you said, you've been to a few countries. Some have been a little bit disappointing. Some have been a little bit challenging. I mean, with someone your age, it's pretty intimidating to travel and start a life in another country. Um, I mean, what advice? And I'm going to add this here. what advice would you give to young people who are curious about living in another country or experiencing different culture? I mean, you've done it.
Hmm.
What
Biggest
advice can
one
you give them?
is learning about yourself, because once you understand more of yourself, then the challenges becomes different. I wouldn't say, of course, there's still going to be challenges, but you're going to deal with them in a different way. And it's going to allow your mind to stay open rather than judgmental. So that would be my biggest advice, to take it all in as an experience and yeah, take it for what it is.
Is your daily routine, has it been changed now that you live in China? Do you do things differently during the day than you normally would do
Yeah.
in back at home? Like what?
Yeah. I lived in Southeast Asia for a while and life there is
Okay.
way more slow. Here is very fast paced, so I got to keep up.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
I would say I'm more disciplined than
Oh,
before. Hmm.
okay. What are some things that you like about China
I
besides
like how
its
efficient they are. They're super efficient and they
okay?
think very big. So you might have an idea, and I might come with my Western mindset to that idea, and they want to 10x it or 100x it. And I'm like, wow. So that expansion of the mind while being here in China, that's one of my favorite things about being here.
That's interesting. The way that you just explained that. I've asked that question to a lot of foreigners, and no one's ever explained it in that way. So
Mm.
you're coming in here also with a very interesting business mindset. That maybe could be because your father has done a lot of business here for a while, and you've gained that experience. But I have to agree with you on this one here. Is that there are a lot of things that our countries can do together with China, even though China is impressive. When we come here, we see it with our eyes, but we still use that term developing. And I don't just say that, it's not a country that continually needs a lot of developing in its infrastructure. It's got that for sure. But I think it needs development in its mindset to try to figure out and to try to come up with solutions. And therein lies the fact that it's important to have people like you in the country expressing your experience and showing Chinese there are different ways to do different things. Um, is there a, I know I've asked you, impressed you about, is there an end goal here, but do you see yourself here for a while?
I do. And that's why I'm putting in the hours for the language now, because I want to stay in China for a long time. I do feel very blessed and lucky to be here. I know you've been here a very long time already, Alex.
Yeah,
But I still consider myself being here early. I do.
that's another interesting comment. I mean, I arrived in the Shenzhen back in 2020. I was living in Monaco at the time, and that was my first visit. I came to the Canton Fair. You probably see that on my channel. I follow the Canton Fair a lot because that was my first impressions of China, arriving in Guangzhou and going to the largest international import-export show. And that
Mm.
had always resonated in my mind. So I've gone back there the last, since 2020, probably about 10 times now. It's a show that's twice a year. And every year it's just innovation, innovation, innovation. And we still have a long way to go here. I think China's moved on from having that stereotype, I hope, of just selling cheap goods. It's not there anymore. It's way above that. Um, I mean, Norway. How does Norway? I mean, how does a person from Norway um, really, when they go back home, describe China to their friends? How do you do that?
Yeah. um,
And do they believe you?
that's the thing, because I think about a lot of things in life, you can explain it, but explaining it rather than you see when something clicks or not, and if something doesn't click in a person, I just leave it at that. I don't
Hmm.
want to give people more than what they're ready for, and I would rather have them come over and visit me and experience China for themselves. So yeah, that's why I try to showcase as much as I can of the daily life in China, because I think, yeah, I think a lot of people still have not quite the right impression of what China really is. And it's so
Hmm.
diverse, right? It's such a big country. Such a big country.
Now, my last part here. Um, how do our viewers find you? And again, thanks for collaborating with us. Most viewers that and most YouTubers and content creators or Instagrammers or TikTokers that have collaborated with us eventually get quite elevated on our channels. We have a Facebook channel of over 10 million people as well. Our social media platforms are really well to the international communication. Is there a goal with all your social media platforms? Is there, you want to get to 100,000 on YouTube, or is there, you want to get to 500,000 on Instagram? Is there any specific channel you want to promote, or yeah, tell us your content creating dreams if you want.
Yeah, it's funny because YouTube is actually my smallest platform, but that's the one I feel most called to keep on creating videos and yeah, talking about China and how life really is here. My goal is 1 million on YouTube.
Okay. What's your
Yeah.
channel name?
My channel is Lily_in_China.
Okay. And you have Chinese characteristics on there right now, right? I believe. I think I saw that with your channel, right? You have two
Yeah, I have
Chinese.
my
Okay.
Chinese name.
Okay. Good, good, good. And so the focus on YouTube, is it, or is it on the other platforms? Or you want to pretty much promote YouTube? That's the one where you want growth.
Yeah, Instagram is also, good. That one is Norway Nuhai. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I'll make sure I put all those links in the description. Just to let you know about YouTube, keep pressing on it, keep pushing on it. It took me probably about 150 videos before I think I got it right, and then the growth accelerated. Probably about 3 years to get to the 100K, and it moves from there. But there's something unique about YouTube is I call it the truth teller on all social medias. Some of these other media platforms, they'll say, we got 4 million, or you got 2 million in a year and a half. Those platforms are great, but really a lot of the international community, when it comes to companies that are interested in sponsorships, YouTube is the ultimate truth teller, and the content you're putting up there right now is excellent content. Of course, all of us have room for improvement, but I encourage you to continue to maintain what you're doing. Just from one fellow content creator to another, I think your aspirations and your goals are very achievable to get to that 1 million if you just stay consistent.
Thank you so much, Alex. I truly appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. And thanks again for coming onto the program. Have a great season. I'll just keep you backstage for a minute. We'll chat, and then I'll let you get on with the festivities for this year. Thanks again. And everybody, I will put all her information in the description below. We appreciate that. And we'll probably see you back again in the new year here. Some way, somehow, we'll make it happen. Okay, Lily, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Bye-bye.